Howdy, howdy. This is Richard Hay. I'm here with Jody Batum, and we are going to discuss some proposed changes to the typical 10-game round-robin tournament. And at least I, for myself, am co-running the Houston Open in May, and my intention is to implement these changes because I think that it creates a more fun, dynamic environment to play the tournament. And it also gives teams an incentive to, like if you're, essentially, if a 10-game round robin is really long if you're 1-5. And the last 4 games are really hard. So this is a way of letting, the merciful, sweet mercy of death for the teams that are looking for that. And basically an opportunity for a very simplistic bracket tournament to be tagged on to the end of the 7-game round robin. So, Jody, perhaps you can explain how you came to this plan with Jim Smith.
Well, a 10-game round robin is traditionally what M42 does when they don't run a bracket play, especially with a level 1 event, even level 2 event. They'll just do a 10-game round robin.
Right.
It's very popular in New Mexico, who's been playing a long time in the M42 league.
Yes.
But there are fundamental problems with just a 10-game round robin. Problem number 1, some people leave early.
Because of their record.
They're like, I'm not doing well. I've got 4 hours to get home. Why should I stay here? I have no possibility of winning.
So I'm leaving.
Right. All right, which messes up the 10-game bracket immensely.
Yeah, it also makes it to where now the people that were going to play the team after they leave all get buys and automatic. What about the teams they beat?
Right.
Is that fair?
It's not fair. And nobody actually, to this day, has a solution
to that problem.
To that problem. Our solution is we hope to God it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's all we can.
We try to implore on people that are leaving, don't be an asshole.
Right. And the number one proponent of people that want a 10-game round robin, they want everyone to play 10 games.
Right. So they feel like they travel a long way. They got a good number of games.
Richard, how many 10-game brackets or 10-game round robins have you played in?
In my life?
Yeah.
It's probably at least 20.
Well, I'm in the hundreds.
Sure.
And what you might not realize when you're in a 10-game round robin, when you've won 3 and you've lost 5, you kind of know you've played 8 that you're out.
You're out of it.
You don't want to play the other 2.
The last 2 games.
And let me tell you, there's really not much of a difference with this type of 42 is very mentally draining. Every mark matters.
Yes.
Every bid matters. So the amount of will that you're expiring is so draining that you're kind of like the last 2 are a fight to actually keep your
I'll give you another example.
Endurance.
So last time I played in Cleburne, I played with a lady from Fort Worth. And on Friday night we came in second. And we placed, and it was we did well. On Saturday, through the first 6 games, I think we were 4-2, or we were doing okay. And then she really started to drop off, just because of the duration, the length of the tournament, and she just really wasn't mentally. She was making mistakes that she was not making earlier in the tournament, and she was tired.
Yes,
she was just tired. I mean, it was just tired.
And half the time, something messes up in a 10-game round robin where one table didn't go to lunch when everyone else did. Sure. And all of a sudden, we had 2 teams waiting to play.
Yes.
In Luke because of the backlog.
Not just the one, but the one after that. I mean,
and the number one reason that I don't like a 10-game round robin is that I'm not able to control my fate. What I mean by that is that several times I've gone 8-2, 9-1, thinking, oh, I've got a good chance of getting first place. I've beaten everyone in front of me by a great margin, but there's another team in that bracket that played a totally different field of people. Imagine that. You've got 29 teams is what we had in Irving.
Irving, yeah.
That's
just this last weekend.
1/3 of that group is pretty much 10 games.
Yes.
10, 10, and 9. So some people
played the other 2/3.
The other 2/3, they didn't even play the same amount of people.
Right.
And you're based off of record. And let's be honest, some teams are harder than other teams.
That's correct.
And you don't.
So some people face Murderer's Row and some people face not Murderer's Row.
What we had yesterday was Murderer's Row moved. I was part of Murderer's Row, as it was like, oh my God, all the formidable people, are playing, each other. So what we came up, which is, I think, solves all those problems.
All those problems.
One, it's a 7-game round robin. It's still a lot of round robin.
Gives you a lot of games so that even if you drove 3 or 4 hours to go to the tournament, you still get to play 7
You've
games.
got time to fellowship. You've got time to play. You've got time to have a good time.
Yes.
No matter if you don't place.
Correct.
Now, that's a 7-game round robin. But then after that, we count the paperwork. And it's simply, if you won, you're pretty much in. Because then you switch to, well, let's take the top 16 teams from that 7-game round robin.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you have 29 teams. It doesn't matter if you have 18
The top
teams.
16 are in.
The top 16 teams
make the bracket.
make the bracket.
Now, you may notice that the camera right now is resting on a 16-team single elimination bracket.
Right. And what that means is, not a blind draw 4, that 1 plays 16.
And 2, 15.
8 plays 9.
5 plays 12. 7 plays 10.
So
6, 11, all those.
The rankings do matter.
The 7-game round robin has an effect on which teams you play in the bracket.
The entire field is going to play a minimum of 7 games. The top 16 teams are going to play 8.
8 games. In the top. Yeah, and then 8 teams will play 9.
Yeah.
4 teams will play 10.
That's right.
And then probably 4 teams will also play 11 because whenever you have the 2 teams that get knocked out to 3rd and 4th, they can play for 3rd and 4th while 1st and 2nd are playing for 1st and 2nd.
Right.
And then in terms of 5th and 6th, since there were 4 teams eliminated in the round of 8, we'll use the 7-game round robin to determine which team is 6th.
Yeah,
5th and
who had
6th.
the best differential.
Right. And so that 7-game round robin comes up again instead of playing endless playoffs.
Right.
That you determine it out of those 4 teams that got eliminated, who were the 2 best seeds.
Right.
They're 5th and 6th.
Most games start at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, most tournaments.
Most tournaments, sorry. You play about 4 matches, and you're at noon.
Correct.
Okay, to 11.
Right.
You break for lunch. You come back.
Yes.
You play the other 3.
You're probably about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. At that
That's
point.
right. You're 4 or 5. And then the people that know to go home, go home.
Yes.
Or they stay and watch the outcome.
Right.
And you know what? At most times I'm there as far as fellowship, people aren't sitting there watching me play, going on to the further brackets.
Yes,
it's not like we have
then it's like I got 3 hours to go home.
Right.
Now I get on the road. If you had a terrible day, you get to.
You can't blame them.
You get to
for
call it.
that.
Yeah.
They're tired. So it's not like people are staying. And you go from 16, and the 1 round, half of that's gone. You're down to 8, all right? And that's going to place everyone at a level 2.
Yes.
Okay. You go down to 4, that's going to place everyone at level 1, and then you're down to 2. These are people that now I'm controlling my fate.
Yes.
Now I have to beat the team in front of me, and it's not 2 out of 3
It's
like
win or go home.
Hallettsville. It's win or go home.
Right.
Another 4 rounds at the most. You've already played 7.
Right.
All right. It pretty much averages where most people are playing 9 or 10 games,
Yes.
everyone that I know of would be happy because it takes out
All the negatives about
negatives
the 10
about
games.
it. And
So the best way to promote this idea, this 7-game round robin with the 16-team single elimination bracket at the tail end of the 7 game, is to do it. So for the Houston Open tournament in May, our plan is to implement the 7-game on Saturday. On Friday, it'll still be the 5-game.
yes,
On Saturday, this is all for Saturday. On Saturday, it'll be the 7-game round robin with the 16-team single elimination bracket on the end of that. So that's one tournament I know where I'm co-running it, so we're going to do this format. And really, this video is for tournament directors that are planning tournaments, that are going to run tournaments, and us basically advocating the idea that this is a format that should be considered in lieu of the 10-game round robin to eliminate the negatives of the 10-game round robin.
I think that every player, if they had a chance to vote to do the 10-game round robin or do this hybrid of a 7-game round robin that transfers into a 16 elimination bracket, I think every player that, at least if they care for their M42 points and they're trying to get to
Points.
trying to get points, which I know I am, all right, would vote for this later.
Right,
But
but also consider this, and that is, even if your record is not great, like say you're 4-4, or no, I'm sorry, let's just say you're 3-3,
or 3 and 4.
or whatever, you might make the 16.
That's right.
And if you feel confident in your abilities, you basically, I don't care which one of the seeds I'm in the 16, because every one of those teams has a shot to go the whole way and win the whole thing.
Right.
So if you make the 16, you have a chance to win the whole tournament because you're controlling your own destiny at that
Right.
point. So now a 4-3 record could mean that you're a 15 seed and you have a chance to put. Now you're playing a 2 seed. You're playing.
But it's going to make people incentivized to stay.
Yes.
Where they are not incentivized to stay
Now.
It's going to give everyone a higher opportunity
Yes.
to get first place.
Correct.
It's only 4 games. The entire field goes from
16 to
16 to 1. All right. That's 2 hours of bracket play.
Correct.
All right. You get about 3 to 4.
And not everyone's going to be
Hours.
playing all 4 of those.
That's right.
So once so half of the 16 teams are eliminated after the 8th game.
Right.
Now they can go home.
Right. And I'm incentivized. I mean, I'm traveling 200 miles plus from Austin.
Per turn.
I'm going to Granbury. I'm going to Abilene. I'm going to Irving.
Sure.
And I'm going
Mexico,
to
all of them.
all of these tournaments. You're very much incentivized. Like, oh, bracket play. I control my destiny. I'm happy to go. If you want more people to show, I think this will help.
Will promote more participation.
Yes.
So that's our proposal. And we are going to be implementing it in tournaments that we are running. We encourage other tournament directors to consider this format.
I will be contacting tournaments that I'm going to
and ask them to consider
and
this.
ask them to consider this.
Instead of, especially if they're considering a 10-game round robin.
And especially if they're considering a 10-game round robin. Because I think this is easier.
Yes.
You know, the last time, just one last thing, in Irving, the paperwork got messed up. Because the people that are involved in the tournament are just human calculators.
Right.
And then they don't understand the first, second, third, fourth tiebreakers. They had inverted 2 accidentally. And I went from third and went, no, I've talked to the other teams. I thought the second tiebreaker made a second. We had to talk and we had to overrule the people who go, no, you didn't get it. So
Yeah, this is much cleaner.
Much cleaner. You know, win, stay, lose,
You place because you won the
go
game.
home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's about all I had for this video. Jody, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. Well, we'll see you at the tables.